Megan, step away from the safe.
Hey, come on, let me explain the deposits, please.
27,000, Megan. The camera saw everything.
This is Megan Caserta, a Target night shift manager in Lake Park, Florida. She thought the back office was invisible after closing, but Target had just pointed a camera directly at the safe.
You seem like someone I can be honest with.
She would not get the chance to tell her side of it to the deputies that night. According to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, by the time uniformed officers stepped into the back office of the Target store in Lake Park, Florida, on the evening of October 27, 2025, the company's loss prevention team had already laid out the case for them. A hidden camera, 48 hours of footage, 2 separate cash skims that prosecutors say were captured on consecutive nights, more than $3,500 in just 2 shifts, set against 47 days of unexplained shortages totaling $27,663. Megan Caserta had managed overnight shifts at this store for years. She knew where every camera was mounted. She did not know about the one Target had installed 4 days earlier. Quick question before we go any further. How many people at your workplace have access to cash at the end of the night? Think about it for a second, then drop your number in the comments. And if you have not subscribed yet, this is the channel that covers the small, quiet betrayals the news cycle skips past. Hit subscribe. We post these every single week. Megan Lynn Caserta was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, in the spring of 1989. Her mother worked the front desk at a primary care clinic on 45th Street, answering phones and filing Medicaid paperwork for $12 an hour. Her father drove a delivery truck for a wholesale bakery supply distributor based out of Riviera Beach, leaving the house at 4 in the morning and coming home smelling of cardboard and yeast. They were not poor. They were not comfortable either. The family lived in a single-story concrete block house on Avenue M with a window unit air conditioner that rattled all summer and a fenced backyard the dog had worn down to dirt. Megan was the middle child of 3. Her older brother joined the Marines out of high school. Her younger sister stayed in Palm Beach County and eventually became a dental hygienist. Megan was, by every account given later to investigators by neighbors and former classmates, ordinary. Quiet at school, not in trouble, not exceptional. Her 6th grade report card carried teacher comments like polite and dependable and needs to participate more in class discussions. She played softball for 1 season in 7th grade and quit. She liked drawing horses in the margins of her notebooks. By high school, she was working weekends bagging groceries at a Publix on North Lake Boulevard for $6.40 an hour, plus a small share of the tips she was not supposed to accept, but sometimes did. She graduated from Palm Beach Gardens Community High School in 2007. She did not go to college. The plan, as she described it years later to a coworker, was to save for a year and then enroll in a community college nursing program. The year stretched into 2, then 3, then it was not the plan anymore. She moved out of her parents' house in 2009 at age 20 into a 1-bedroom apartment off Military Trail with a roommate she found through a classified ad in the Palm Beach Post. The rent was $650 a month, split. She was working 2 jobs by then, mornings at a coffee shop in a strip mall, evenings at a CVS register on Okeechobee Boulevard. Her gross income for 2010, according to records that would later be subpoenaed, was $23,400. In 2012, she was hired at the Target store in Lake Park as a part-time team member working the front lanes. She started at $8.20 an hour. She wore the red polo and khakis. She memorized the produce codes for the small grocery section. She learned which managers liked friendly small talk and which ones wanted you to scan and move on. Her first written performance review, in 2013, described her as reliable, punctual, and willing to cover open shifts. She was promoted to a team lead role in 2015, to assistant manager, executive team lead in 2018. By the time she was given the overnight manager position in 2021, she had been with the company for 9 years. Her base salary, as of her last raise in early 2025, was $58,400. She rented a two-bedroom unit in a stucco building in Lake Park, 3 miles from the store. She drove a 2017 Hyundai Elantra. She had a rescue dog, a small brown mutt named Biscuit, that she walked at 3 in the morning when her shifts ended. She was not married. She did not have children. She did not, as far as the people who knew her could later identify, have a gambling problem or a drug problem or an obvious financial crisis. Her phone bill was paid on time. Her car insurance was current. She sent her mother a check on her mother's birthday every September. That was the life Megan Caserta had built, slowly, in the years before the cash bags allegedly started coming up short. The Target store on U.S. Highway 1 in Lake Park is a standard format big box retail location. Just under 130,000 square feet of sales floor. 32 registers across the front lanes. A customer service counter, a self-checkout bank, a Starbucks kiosk near the entrance. On an average weekday, it processes between 4,000 and 6,000 transactions. On the Saturdays and Sundays leading into the holiday season, that number doubles. A store this size handles a significant volume of cash. Not the majority of its sales, which are processed by card, but enough that the daily cash intake routinely runs into 5 figures. That cash does not stay in the registers. It moves on a schedule, in a procedure, through a chain of people who are each supposed to verify the next person's count. The chain at this store ran like this. During business hours, cashiers performed mid-shift drops. Excess bills above a set drawer threshold were sealed into deposit bags, logged, and dropped into a one-way slot in a safe near the customer service counter. At the end of the night, after the front doors were locked and the last customer was out, the night manager on duty was responsible for collecting cash bags from each register, reconciling totals against the point-of-sale system, and consolidating the night's take into the main safe in the back cash office. That cash office is a small, windowless room behind a locked door near the loading dock. It contains the safe, a counting machine, a desk, a wall-mounted phone, and, in 2025, 3 ceiling-mounted security cameras covering the safe, the counting station, and the door. The cameras record continuously. The footage is stored on a corporate server, reviewed periodically by the asset protection team, normally during audits or after a flagged incident, not in real time. The trust framework, as one former target loss prevention investigator put it in a deposition unrelated to this case, is built on the assumption that the manager who closes is the manager who closes honest. That assumption is not naive. It is structural. A retail chain with 2,000 stores cannot put 2 people in every cash office every night. So instead, it puts 1 person with cameras, with logs, with reconciliations, and with the understanding that the math has to come out. The manager on duty signs off on the deposit. The deposit goes into the safe. In the morning, an armored car service collects it. The bank confirms the count. If the count matches what the store reported, the loop closes. If it does not, the system flags it. A single missing bill is a counting error. A pattern of missing bills on the same shifts, under the same manager, week after week, is something else. The thing about a small skim is that it can run for a long time before anyone bothers to check. $20 here, $40 there. Nobody compares the deposit to reported variance against the manager on duty schedule unless something prompts them to compare it, until something does. The first shortage that would later be tied to Megan Caserta's shifts, according to Target's internal investigation report referenced by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, hit the books on September 8, 2025. It was a Monday overnight closing. The reconciliation showed a variance of $318 between what the registers reported and what was sealed into the deposit bags. On a store doing $4 million a month, $318 is not a number anyone notices the next morning. It gets logged. It gets coded as a counting discrepancy. It gets forgotten. September 11th, a Thursday. Variance of $204 on Megan's shift. September 14th, a Sunday closing. Variance of $490. September 18th, a Thursday. Variance of $275. September 22nd. variance of 610. These are not large numbers individually. Investigators would later say that is the point. According to PBSO, Caserta's alleged method was straightforward. As the manager on duty, she was the person who collected the sealed cash bags from each register at closing. She was the person who carried them, alone, the 80 feet from the front lanes to the back cash office. She was the person who reconciled the bag's contents against the point-of-sale totals before consolidating them into the safe. The procedure required her to break the seal on each bag, count the contents, verify against the register's reported total, and then reseal the cash into a master deposit bag for the morning pickup. What PBSO alleges she did instead was remove a portion of the cash before resealing the bags and conceal it on her person before leaving the cash office. The blind spot she allegedly exploited was specific. The 3 corporate cameras in the cash office covered the safe, the door, and the counting station. They did not have a clean angle on the desk where the bag reconciliation actually happened, because the desk faced a wall and the counting was done with the operator's back to one of the cameras. A person turning slightly, keeping their hands close to their body, working under the lip of the desk, was not impossible to read on the footage. But nobody was reading the footage in real time. And in the still images pulled for routine audits, nothing was obvious. The escalation pattern, traced backward by investigators, was steady rather than dramatic. Through September, the per-shift takes averaged in the low hundreds. By the first week of October, the average had climbed past $500 per shift. By the third week of October, in the 8 closing shifts Caserta worked between October 10th and October 22nd, the cumulative variance was over $6,000. Total losses across the 47-day window, as later calculated by Target's corporate loss prevention team and reported to the sheriff's office, came to $27,663. Every single one of those shortage events fell on a night when Caserta was the closing manager. None of them fell on the nights she was off. What she allegedly did with the money is a question investigators have not, as of the charging documents, answered in detail. Her bank deposits did not show the cash flowing back in. Her recent purchases were not extravagant. She had not bought a new car. She had not paid down debt in obvious large lump sums. There was no boyfriend, no second household, no vacation home being quietly funded. A former co-worker, interviewed by PBSO, said Megan had mentioned in passing that her mother's medical bills had become a problem in 2024 after her mother was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. The co-worker did not know what the bills totaled. Investigators have not publicly tied any specific payments to the alleged thefts. None of that has been established in court. The pattern was, the schedule was, the math was, and once anyone looked at the math against the schedule, the answer it gave was uncomfortable in only one direction. The thing that finally pulled the math against the schedule was, in retrospect, not detective work. It was a routine variance report. Every retail chain at Target's scale runs automated loss prevention analytics. Cash variance is one of the streams those analytics watch. The system does not need a human to notice that a single store has been bleeding cash on a recurring weekly pattern. The system flags it on a dashboard, and somebody in a corporate office in Minneapolis decides whether to escalate. On October 22nd, 2025, the variance flag on the Lake Park store crossed an internal threshold. Cumulative unexplained cash losses for the prior 6 weeks had passed $20,000. That was the number that pulled the case out of the dashboard and onto a desk. A regional asset protection manager, whose name has not been released publicly and who is referred to in this account as the regional investigator, pulled the store's shift schedule for the variance window. The investigator cross-referenced the dates and times of the flagged discrepancies against the manager-on-duty assignments. The result, according to the case file later shared with PBSO, was unambiguous. Every discrepancy fell within a shift, closed by the same person. The investigator did not immediately confront Megan. The investigator did not pull her into an office. The investigator did not call the sheriff. Instead, the investigator made a quiet trip down to Lake Park on the afternoon of October 23rd, while Megan was not on the schedule, and supervised the installation of a single additional camera in the back cash office. The new camera was small. It was positioned to cover the exact angle the existing cameras had been failing to cover. The desk where the bag reconciliation happened. The hands of the operator working that desk. The space under the lip of the counter where, the regional investigator suspected, the bag contents were being separated. The camera was hidden behind a vent grill. It was networked to record locally rather than to the standard corporate server. The store's overnight team was not told it existed. The store's day manager was not told. The only people who knew about it, as of the morning of October 24th, were the regional investigator, the corporate director the investigator reported to, and the IT contractor who installed it. Megan worked the closing shift the night the camera went live. She was on the schedule again the following night. What the camera was about to record over those 48 hours would, according to prosecutors, take this case from a paper anomaly to a criminal charge. We are about to get into what the camera caught. Before we do, a quick favor. If you have made it this far in the video, the algorithm thinks you might bail. Prove it wrong. Drop a comment with the word watching, just that, and it helps the channel reach more eyes. Subscribe if you have not. We cover the cases the mainstream news skips every single week. The footage from the new camera, according to the probable cause affidavit later filed by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, captured two events in 2 consecutive nights. The first was the closing shift of October 23rd, 2025. The store's last customer left at 10:53 p.m. The front doors were locked at 11:04. Megan, working with 2 overnight team members on the floor and 1 cashier closing out the front, completed register pulls between 11:15 and 11:42. She carried the bags, 1 trip, to the back cash office. She closed the door behind her. She sat down at the desk. What the new camera allegedly recorded over the next 26 minutes is the moment the case stopped being theoretical. Investigators say the footage shows Caserta opening each cash bag, counting the contents, and then, before resealing the bags into the master deposit, separating a quantity of bills off the side of the count and pocketing them in the front waistband of her pants beneath her red Target polo. According to PBSO, the amount allegedly taken that night came to $1,445. She closed out the night. She locked the safe. She signed the deposit log. She clocked out at 12:47 a.m. The second event was the following night, October 24th, 2025. The pattern, as described in the affidavit, repeated. Closing procedures began at 11:06. Bags collected by 11:38. Cash office door closed. Desk angle. Bills separated. This time, according to PBSO, the amount taken came to $2,060. The morning of October 25th, the regional investigator reviewed the previous 2 nights of footage. The investigator then reviewed the footage twice more. The investigator placed a phone call to the corporate director who had authorized the camera. By the afternoon, the file had been forwarded to the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Detectives assigned to the case spent the weekend building it out. They pulled the manager on duty schedule for the full 90 days prior to October 24th. They pulled the variance reports for every shift in that window. They cross-referenced the 2 datasets. They confirmed that the pattern of cash discrepancies aligned exclusively with Caserta's shifts. They pulled her personnel file. They reviewed the existing cash office footage from the 3 corporate cameras across the same window. The existing footage did not provide a clean angle on the desk, as the regional investigator had suspected, but it did establish that Caserta was, on every shift in question, the only person present in the cash office during reconciliation. The total alleged loss, as documented in the case file, was $27,663 across 47 days. The 2 camera-recorded events accounted for $3,505 of that total. The remaining $24,158 was the inferred pattern, supported by the schedule alignment, but not, by definition, on tape. Investigators also collected, per the affidavit, a copy of Caserta's signed acknowledgement of the company's cash handling procedures from her personnel file. The acknowledgement, signed in 2021 when she had been promoted to overnight manager, included a specific line confirming that any deviation from documented cash handling protocol was a terminable offense and could be referred for criminal prosecution. By Monday morning, October 27th, the case was ready for the confrontation. The plan, as later described in the incident summary, was straightforward. The regional investigator and a corporate human resources representative would meet Megan when she arrived for her Monday evening shift. They would walk her to a small office near the loading dock. They would close the door. They would tell her what they had. Plainclothes detectives from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office would wait in an unmarked vehicle in the parking lot. Megan arrived at the store at 6:53 p.m. She parked in her usual spot in the employee row near the back of the lot. She walked in through the team member entrance, scanned her badge, and was met inside the door by the HR representative, who told her, calmly, that there was a conversation she needed to be part of in the office down the hall. She went without argument. According to the company's account of the meeting, later shared with investigators, she sat across the desk from the regional investigator. She was told that the company had conducted an internal review of cash variances over a defined window. She was told that the review had identified a pattern. She was told that the pattern aligned with her shifts. She was told that, on 2 specific dates in October, the company had video footage. The regional investigator: "We have you on camera on the night of October 23rd, taking $1,445 from the bag reconciliation. We have you on camera on October 24th, taking $2,060. Do you want to talk about it?" Megan: "I want to see the video." The regional investigator: "We are not going to show you the video here. What I am asking you is whether you took the money." Megan: "I broke the procedure. I know I broke the procedure. I did not steal anything." The HR representative: "Can you tell us what you mean by that?" Megan: "I moved cash between bags. I was not supposed to. That is on me. But it all went back in the safe. I did not take anything." That, according to the report, was the last substantive statement she made during the meeting. The regional investigator then informed her that the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office had been contacted and was waiting. 2 detectives entered the office a moment later. They read Megan her Miranda rights from a printed card. They asked if she wished to speak with them. She said no. She was handcuffed at the desk, walked out the team member entrance she had walked in through 40 minutes earlier, and placed in the back of an unmarked sheriff's office vehicle. She did not cry. She did not protest. According to the deputy who transported her, she asked twice during the drive whether she would be able to get someone to take her dog out. She was booked into the Palm Beach County Jail at 9:11 p.m. The criminal complaint filed by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office against Megan Lynn Caserta on October 27, 2025, charged her with 2 felony counts. The first count, grand theft of property valued at $20,000 or more but less than $100,000, falls under Florida Statute 812.014. At that dollar tier, the offense is a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years in state prison, 15 years of probation, and fines up to $10,000. The second count, organized scheme to defraud involving property of $20,000 or more but less than $50,000, falls under Florida Statute 817.034. It is also a second-degree felony with the same statutory ceiling. Caserta's first appearance was held the morning of October 28th. Bond was set at $25,000 on the combined counts. She did not enter a plea at first appearance. Under Florida procedure, formal arraignment follows the filing of an information by the state attorney's office, which had 30 days to file. As of the most recent public docket entries available at the time of this account, no information had yet been filed, no formal arraignment had occurred, and no trial date had been set. Caserta retained private counsel out of West Palm Beach. Her attorney, in a brief statement to local press, said only that his client looks forward to addressing these allegations through the appropriate legal process, and that the public should remember that allegations are not convictions. He declined to comment on the substance of the charges or on the video evidence. That position matters, because everything in this case, from the variance reports to the hidden camera footage to the meeting in the back office, is at this stage an allegation. Megan Caserta has not been convicted of any crime. She has not entered a plea. She has not been to trial. Under both Florida law and the United States Constitution, she is presumed innocent. Nothing in this account changes that. Target terminated her employment, effective October 27th, the same day as her arrest. Her access badge was deactivated within the hour. The store filled her overnight manager position on a temporary basis with an assistant manager, transferred from a neighboring location. The hidden camera that recorded the two alleged skims was, according to a corporate spokesperson, removed from the cash office after the case was handed off to law enforcement. The corporate cameras that had always been there, the three that covered the safe, the door, and the counting station, remain in place. Whatever the next overnight manager at the Lake Park store does in that office is being recorded by the same equipment that, according to PBSO, missed the pattern for 47 nights. What this case asks, beyond the question of guilt or innocence that a Palm Beach jury or a plea agreement will eventually resolve, is the older question every cash handling business eventually has to confront. How long can a small, recurring loss run before anyone bothers to compare the loss against the schedule? The answer at this Target store, allegedly, was 6.5 weeks and $27,663. The next answer, at the next store, will depend on the next dashboard and the next person paid to read it. This case was the quiet kind. But this next case on the right-hand side is louder, uglier, and somehow worse. Click it now.